Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I am Zartashia Ahmed, your grade 9 English teacher, and this is my second lesson of the series of 2 lessons. Lord Byron said, and I quote, "Letter writing is the only device for combining solitude with good company," and I unquote. The topic that I have selected for you today is informal letter. What is an informal letter? An informal letter is a personal letter written to friends or relatives. You write this letter for conveying messages, news, giving advice, congratulating the recipient, requesting information or asking questions, etc. It is a personal letter written to whom you are familiar with, like friends, siblings, parents, or any other close ones. While writing an informal letter, one can afford to be friendly and make use of personal or emotional tone. Now, let's talk about the format or pattern of informal letter. There is no set format when writing an informal letter, but there is a general pattern, some conventions that people usually follow. What are those? The first thing that you write is the address. After that comes the date, then greetings or salutations, followed by the body of the letter, and at the end is signing off. Now let's talk about these things in detail. The first thing is the address. By address, we mean the sender's address or the address of the person who is writing the letter. We usually write the address on the left-hand side of the page at the very top. The address should be accurate and complete. Even when writing to close friends or relatives, the address must be written so that they can reply back to the letter with ease. If the recipient of the letter is in another country, do not forget to write your country as well in the address. And this whole thing you can see in the example. After the address comes the date, which is written just below the address. The date allows the reader to have a reference as to when the informal letter was written. He can then relate better to the contents of the letter. The date preferably should be in expanded form. And the example is there on your screens. After the date comes the greetings or salutation. Now in informal letter, since you know the person you are writing to, the greetings can be informal as well. If it is a friend or someone close to your age, you can greet them by their first name, like Dear Ali. If you are writing to your relative, like your mother, father, aunt, or uncle, you may greet them as Dear Mother or Mom, Dear Father, Dear Aunt, or Dear Uncle. However, if you are writing to an elder person, someone you respect greatly, you can address them as Mr. or Mrs. Like you can say Dear Mr. Aves or Dear Mrs. Anis. Now after the greetings or the salutation come the body of the letter. The body of the letter is divided into at least 3 to 5 paragraphs. Para 1 or the introductory para sets the tone for the whole letter. The opening of the informal letters should be casual and comforting. It must not be formal and direct as in formal letters. You might begin by asking the recipient about their well-being, or you may say that you hope the letter finds them in good health and great spirits. In para 2 and 3, you give details of the matter. The letter overall should maintain a friendly tone, but you have to adjust the language and the wordings according to who you are writing to. With a friend, you can afford to be very casual and flippant even. But if you are writing to an elder relative, you must be extremely respectful and considerate. One way to determine the tonality of your letter is to remember how you talk to the person in a conversation, and then apply the same syntax and sentiments to the letter. After that comes the para 4. In the conclusive para, sum up the reason for writing the letter. That is, summarize the letter. Say a meaningful and affectionate goodbye to the reader, and do not forget to invite the reader to write back or reply to your letter. It shows an intention to keep the conversation going. Then comes signing off. There is no one way to sign off informal letters. Since they do not follow a strict format, you may sign off as you please. Some commonly used phrases are lots of love, best wishes, kind regards, with love, missing you, etc. So this was the format of a formal letter, and here you can see the example of an informal letter. Now let's talk about the differences between formal and informal letter. Informal letter is written for business or professional purpose with a specific purpose in mind, whereas informal letters are written to friends or relatives for personal communication. The formal letters use simple language which is easy to read and interpret. However, informal letters require a casual or an emotional tone. The size of a formal letter is concise, that does not include irrelevant matter. In contrast, the formal letter can be lengthier. Formal letters are written to customers, companies, professionals, institute, employers, etc. As against this, informal letters are written to friends, relatives, acquaintances, etc. I hope now you understand fully how to write an informal letter and what are the basic differences between formal and informal letter. And now it is time for assignment. The assignment is that imagine you and your family are moving to another country. Write a letter to a friend and include the following points: your reason for moving, your expectations, for example, what might be different about your new home or surroundings, and how you feel about moving. I hope you will do this assignment and send me your letters. Till then, Allah Hafiz, stay safe, happy and blessed.